The Junkyard revelation. Captain Amelia Carter stood on the bridge of the SS Horizon, her fingers drumming against the console as she surveyed the view outside. To anyone else, the sight might seem uninspiring. Earth's largest orbital junkyard, a mass of abandoned ships, defunct satellites, and space debris floating aimlessly. But to Amelia, it was a goldmine. Amelia had spent most of her life in space, born to a family of scavengers who had seen the worth in what others discarded. The junkyard, officially named the Terra Debris Field, was their playground and workshop. Yet, as she stared out at the seemingly endless expanse of wreckage, she couldn't shake the sense that this place held more than just scraps. Something was different, something big. Captain, incoming message from command, her communications officer, Jacob, called out, pulling her from her thoughts. Patch it through, Amelia ordered, turning to face the holoscreen as the familiar face of Admiral Thorne flickered into view. His expression was grave, lines of worry etched across his face. "Captain Carter, we have a situation," Thorne began without preamble. "We've intercepted transmissions suggesting that the Kelvorm, a known hostile alien fleet, are on their way to Earth. We believe they've discovered something here that's made them a target." Amelia's heart skipped a beat. The Kelvorm were ruthless, a technologically advanced species that left devastation in their wake. Earth had managed to avoid their attention, mostly due to its perceived lack of advanced technology. If they were coming now, it meant only one thing: there was something on Earth they wanted. "What are our orders, Admiral?" Amelia asked, her mind already racing with possibilities. "Defense Command is mobilizing, but we're outnumbered and outgunned," Thorne admitted. "We need every available ship and pilot. And Carter, your junkyard has more than just abandoned vessels. We've had reports of unusual energy readings coming from there. We believe there might be advanced tech hidden among the wreckage. We need you to investigate." Amelia nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "Understood, Admiral. We'll comb through the junkyard and see what we can find. If there's something out there, we'll put it to good use." "Good luck, Carter. Earth is counting on you," Thorne said, before the screen went dark. Amelia turned to her crew, a determined glint in her eyes. "You heard the Admiral. We've got a junkyard to sift through. Jacob, get the scanners online and start searching for those energy readings. Harper, prepare the salvage drones. I want every corner of this field searched." As her crew sprang into action, Amelia felt a familiar rush of adrenaline. This was what she lived for, the thrill of discovery, the chance to turn the odds in their favor. But this time, it wasn't just about finding valuable scraps. It was about survival. Hours passed as the Horizon maneuvered through the debris field, its scanners sweeping the area for any sign of the mysterious energy readings. Amelia monitored the progress from the bridge, her eyes flicking between the data streams and the view outside. "Captain, I've got something," Jacob called out suddenly, his voice tinged with excitement. "There's a strong energy signature coming from a cluster of old warships about 2 clicks from our position." "Lock onto it and bring us in," Amelia ordered, leaning forward in her seat. Her heart pounded with anticipation. If there was advanced technology hidden among those ships, it could be the key to turning the tide against the Kelvorm. The Horizon glided through the debris, weaving past twisted metal and shattered hulls. As they approached the source of the energy signature, Amelia's eyes widened in surprise. The cluster of ships wasn't just a random collection of wrecks. It was a fleet, and from the looks of it, a very old one. The ships were of various designs, some recognizable as early Earth models, others entirely alien in origin. Their hulls were scarred and battle-worn, But Amelia could see the potential in them. This wasn't just a graveyard, it was a treasure trove. Harper, launch the drones, Amelia commanded. I want a full survey of those ships. Look for anything that could be useful. Weapon systems, engines, shields, anything. The salvage drones deployed from the horizon, darting towards the derelict fleet. Amelia watched the feed from the drones on the main screen, her excitement growing with each new discovery. There were advanced weapon systems, intact engines, and even shield generators, all hidden in plain sight among the wreckage. Captain, these ships are loaded with tech we've never seen before, Harper reported, her voice filled with awe. Some of this stuff could be centuries ahead of what we have. Amelia felt a surge of triumph. This was it, their ace in the hole. With these ships, they could stand a chance against the Kelvorn. But there was still much to do. They needed to get the ships operational, integrate the alien tech, and prepare for battle. Start the salvage operations, Amelia ordered, and get me a secure line to Admiral Thorne. He's going to want to hear about this. As her crew began the daunting task of reviving the ancient fleet, Amelia couldn't help but smile. Earth's Junkyard was about to become the birthplace of a new Armada, one that would stand against the Kelvorn and show the galaxy what humanity was capable of. Awakening the fleet. The hum of activity aboard the SS Horizon was electric. Salvage drones buzzed back and forth from the derelict ships, carrying parts and components to and from the Horizon's hold. The crew worked tirelessly, their efforts fueled by the knowledge that each piece they salvaged brought them closer to giving Earth a fighting chance against the Kelvorn. Amelia watched the progress from the bridge, her mind racing with possibilities. Every scan of the ancient fleet revealed more surprises. Ion cannons with unknown configurations, plasma shields capable of absorbing incredible amounts of energy, and engines that defied conventional engineering. It was as if these ships had been forgotten by time, waiting for the right moment to reveal their secrets. Jacob, any luck deciphering those control systems? Amelia asked, turning to her communications officer. We're making headway, Captain, Jacob replied, his fingers flying over his console. The ships seem to have a mix of human and alien tech, but there's a common language running through their systems. We've managed to activate some basic functions. With a bit more time, we should be able to bring them online. Amelia nodded, satisfied with the progress. She turned her attention to Harper, who was overseeing the salvage operations. Harper, what's the status on the weapon systems? Harper looked up from her station, a smirk on her face. We've got 2 ion cannons fully operational and mounted on the horizon. They're beauties, Captain. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of one of those. Excellent, Amelia said, a small smile playing on her lips. Keep it up. We need as many weapons online as possible before the Kelvorn arrive. As her crew continued their work, Amelia found her thoughts drifting to the enormity of their task. They were trying to turn a graveyard of forgotten ships into an armada that could stand against one of the most feared forces in the galaxy. The odds were daunting, but Amelia had always thrived under pressure. The bridge door slid open, and a young engineer named Ryan walked in. He had been assigned to the salvage team a few months ago and had quickly proven his worth with his knack for understanding alien technology. His eyes lit up when he saw Amelia. Captain, you've got to see this, Ryan said, holding up a small device. It was a sleek, black cylinder covered in intricate markings. We found this in the command center of one of the ships. It's some kind of interface module. I think it might be a key to accessing the ship's full capabilities. Amelia took the device, turning it over in her hands. It felt surprisingly heavy for its size, and she could feel a faint hum of power emanating from it. "Have you tried integrating it with our systems?" Ryan nodded. "That's the best part. It's compatible with both human and alien tech. I think it's designed to bridge the gap between different species' technologies. If we can figure out how to use it, we could unlock the full potential of these ships." Amelia's mind raced. This could be the breakthrough they needed. "Good work, Ryan. Get it hooked up to the main console. Let's see what this thing can do." Ryan hurried off to integrate the device, his excitement contagious. Amelia couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they had a shot. Hours later, the bridge was a hive of activity as Ryan finished connecting the interface module. The main console lit up, displaying a series of symbols and codes that scrolled across the screen. Amelia leaned in, her eyes narrowing as she tried to make sense of the data. "It's working," Ryan said, his voice barely above a whisper. "The module is syncing with the fleet's systems. We should be able to access their command functions now." Amelia watched as the symbols on the screen slowly resolved into recognizable language. A menu appeared, listing the various systems of the ancient ships: navigation, weapons, shields, communications. She felt a surge of excitement. This was it. "All right, let's see if we can bring one of these ships online," Amelia said, her fingers flying over the console. She selected one of the larger vessels, a sleek warship with a design that hinted at both elegance and power. The ship's systems began to hum to life, lights flickering on along its hull. The engines rumbled, and the ship shifted slightly in the debris field. Amelia felt a thrill of triumph. They had done it. They had brought a ship back from the dead. "Captain, we've got full control," Jacob reported, his voice tinged with awe. "Weapons, shields, engines, everything's operational." Amelia's smile widened. "Good. Let's see if we can get the rest of the fleet up and running. If we can bring these ships online, we'll have a real fighting chance." As the crew worked to activate more ships, a quiet sense of confidence filled the bridge. The odds were still against them, but they had a weapon now, one that the Kelvorn wouldn't expect. Hours stretched into days as more ships were brought online. Each one was a masterpiece of engineering, blending human ingenuity with alien technology. Amelia found herself marveling at the elegance of the designs, the seamless integration of systems. During the long hours of work, Amelia found herself spending more time with Ryan. They shared meals in the mess hall, discussing the complexities of the ancient tech. Ryan's passion for discovery was infectious, and Amelia found herself drawn to his enthusiasm. There was a spark between them, one that was hard to ignore. She hadn't felt this way in a long time, not since losing her partner in a raid years ago. One evening, after a particularly long day of salvaging, they stood together on the observation deck, looking out at the slowly awakening fleet. The lights of the newly activated ships glowed in the darkness, a testament to their hard work. "This is amazing," Ryan said softly, his voice filled with wonder. "I never thought I'd be part of something like this." Amelia turned to him, her heart pounding. She knew the risks of getting involved with someone on her crew, especially with the battle looming, but there was something about Ryan that she couldn't resist. "It is," she agreed, her voice barely above a whisper. They stood in silence, the unspoken tension between them growing. The moment stretched, filled with the promise of something more. But before either of them could say anything, the ship's alarm blared, breaking the moment. Amelia snapped back into her role as captain, her hand on her communicator. "Captain to the bridge. We have incoming." Jacob's voice crackled over the comm. Amelia felt a jolt of adrenaline. The Kelvorn had arrived. Battle in the void. The SS Horizon's bridge was a hive of activity as the ship's sensors picked up the approaching Kelvorn fleet. Amelia felt the familiar rush of adrenaline as she took her place in the captain's chair, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. It showed the dark expanse of space, with tiny dots of light representing the approaching enemy ships. Report. Amelia snapped, her voice cutting through the tension. Captain, we've got at least a dozen Kelvorn ships inbound, Jacob replied, his fingers flying over his console. Looks like a mix of frigates and cruisers, and there's a dreadnought with them. They're about 15 minutes out. Amelia clenched her jaw. A dreadnought. The largest and most powerful warship in the Kelvorn fleet, armed with enough firepower to take out entire star systems. They needed every advantage they could muster. Ryan, how many ships have we brought online? Amelia asked, turning to the young engineer. We've got 8 ships fully operational, Ryan replied, his face pale but determined. 4 more are coming online now. The rest are still in the queue, but we'll need more time to activate them. Get those 4 ships online as quickly as you can, Amelia ordered. We're going to need every one of them. Amelia turned her attention to the crew on the bridge. Listen up, everyone. We've got a Kelvorn fleet bearing down on us. They're not expecting resistance, so we have the element of surprise. Our goal is to delay them long enough to get as many of these ships operational as possible. If we can cripple their dreadnought, we'll have a chance. Harper, manning the tactical station, looked up. Captain, the ion cannons are charged and ready. We've also managed to bring a few of the salvaged plasma cannons online. They pack a serious punch. Good, Amelia said, nodding. We'll use the Horizon as a decoy to draw their fire. Once they're engaged, the other ships can come in from the flanks. Let's see if we can't give them a bloody nose. The tension in the bridge was palpable as the crew prepared for battle. Amelia's heart was pounding, but she forced herself to remain calm. She had faced impossible odds before, and she knew the only way to survive was to keep a clear head. Jacob, open a channel to the fleet, Amelia said. Jacob nodded, and a moment later, Amelia's voice echoed through the corridors of the Horizon and across the communication lines of the salvaged ships. This is Captain Amelia Hunter. We're about to engage the enemy. Remember, you are not alone. We fight together, and we will not let the Kelvorn take our home. For Earth. A chorus of voices responded, a rallying cry that reverberated through the fleet. Amelia felt a surge of pride. Her crew was ready to fight, ready to lay down their lives if necessary. She wouldn't let them down. Ryan, are those ships ready? Amelia asked, her eyes on the approaching enemy blips on the screen. Almost there, Captain. Ryan replied, just a few more minutes. We may not have a few minutes, Amelia muttered under her breath. She glanced at Harper. Prepare to engage. We need to buy Ryan more time. The Horizon moved into position, its ion cannons trained on the lead Kelvorn frigate. The alien ships were sleek and menacing, their dark hulls bristling with weapons. As they closed in, Amelia could feel the tension building, the anticipation of the first shot. Fire, Amelia commanded. The Horizon's ion cannons roared to life, sending bolts of energy streaking through the void. They struck the Leave frigate, its shields flaring brightly before collapsing under the assault. The frigate shuddered as its hull was breached, explosions rippling along its length. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but Amelia's focus remained on the battle. The Kelvorn were regrouping, their ships moving to encircle the Horizon. Amelia knew they would soon be within firing range. "Harper, get those plasma cannons online," Amelia ordered. Harper's fingers danced over the controls, and a moment later, the Horizon's plasma cannons fired. Blazing spheres of energy shot toward the enemy fleet, slamming into another frigate. The ship was engulfed in fire, its engines exploding in a brilliant flash of light. "They're returning fire," Jacob shouted. The Horizon shuddered as the Kelvorn opened fire, beams of energy slicing through space. Amelia gripped the armrests of her chair as the ship's shields absorbed the brunt of the attack. The bridge lights flickered and alarms blared. "Shields at 70%, Jacob called out. "Keep firing," Amelia shouted. "We can't let them get a lock on us." The Horizon weaved through the enemy fire, its guns blazing. More Kelvorn ships were closing in, their weapons targeting the vulnerable salvaged vessels. Amelia's mind raced. They couldn't hold out much longer. "Ryan, we need those ships online now," Amelia called over the comm. "We're ready." Ryan's voice crackled through the speakers, bringing them online. As Ryan activated the last of the salvaged ships, the battle shifted. More ships came to life, their weapons targeting the Kelvorn. The element of surprise was paying off. One by one, the alien ships were overwhelmed by the sudden onslaught. Amelia felt a flicker of hope. Maybe they could do this. Maybe they could turn the tide. But then the Kelvorn dreadnought entered the fray. The massive ship loomed over the battlefield, its dark hull absorbing the light of the distant stars. It was a terrifying sight, bristling with guns and armored like a fortress. The dreadnought's main cannon charged, its energy building to a blinding point. "Evasive maneuvers," Amelia shouted, but she knew it was too late. The dreadnought fired, a beam of searing energy lancing through space. It struck one of the salvaged ships, tearing through its shields and splitting the hull in two. The explosion was catastrophic, debris scattering into the void. "No," Amelia whispered, her heart sinking. The battle raged on, the Kelvorn dreadnought blasting its way through the fleet. The Horizon took hit after hit, its shields buckling under the strain. Amelia knew they couldn't take much more. "Captain, we've got an idea," Ryan's voice came over the comm. "The interface module. It can connect directly to the dreadnought's systems. If we can get close enough, we might be able to disable it." Amelia's mind raced. It was a long shot, but it was their only chance. "Do it," she said. "Harper, get us in close. Ryan, you're with me. Let's take that ship down." Amelia and Ryan raced to the shuttle bay, the Horizon maneuvering through the chaos of the battle. The shuttle launched, streaking toward the Kelvorn dreadnought. Amelia's heart pounded as they approached the massive ship, its guns blazing. "We're almost there," Ryan said, his hands steady on the controls. Amelia watched as the dreadnought loomed closer, its hull filling the view screen. They were taking a dangerous gamble, but it was their only hope. As the shuttle latched onto the dreadnought's hull, Amelia prepared to face the fight of her life. The reckoning. Amelia and Ryan stood side by side, weapons drawn, as the shuttle's hatch hissed open to reveal the dark interior of the Kelvorn dreadnought. The air was cold, tinged with the metallic scent of the alien ship. The sound of distant machinery hummed through the walls, a constant reminder of the power this vessel wielded. "Stay close," Amelia whispered, her eyes scanning the dimly lit corridor. "We don't know how many of them are on board." Ryan nodded, his expression grim but determined. He adjusted the interface module strapped to his back, a small device that held the key to their plan. They would have to reach the dreadnought's central computer and used the module to disable the ship's weapons. It was a risky move, but it was the only chance they had. They moved silently through the corridors, the only sound the soft thud of their boots on the metal floor. The dreadnought was eerily empty, the crew likely focused on the battle raging outside. Still, Amelia's instincts were on high alert. She knew the Kelvorm wouldn't leave their ship undefended. As they turned a corner, Amelia's fears were confirmed. A patrol of Kelvorm soldiers rounded the bend, their dark eyes widening in surprise. For a moment, there was silence, a tense standoff. Then the corridor erupted into chaos. Amelia fired her weapon, the beam of energy searing through the air. Ryan followed suit, his shots precise and deadly. The Kelvorm soldiers returned fire, their weapons blazing. Amelia ducked behind a bulkhead, her heart pounding as shots ricocheted off the walls. "We can't stay here," Ryan shouted over the noise. "We've got to keep moving." Amelia nodded, firing a few more shots to cover their advance. They sprinted down the corridor, dodging enemy fire. Ryan tossed a small explosive behind them, the blast echoing through the ship. It wouldn't stop the Kelvorm for long, but it would buy them some time. They reached a junction, the corridor splitting in two directions. Amelia hesitated, then pointed to the left. That way. The central computer should be close. They ran down the corridor, their footsteps echoing in the metal confines. The sounds of pursuit were close behind, the Kelvorm relentless in their chase. Amelia's mind raced, calculating their odds. The dreadnought's computer room was heavily guarded. They would need more than luck to reach it. As they approached a set of heavy doors, Amelia could feel the tension mounting. This was it, the heart of the dreadnought. She glanced at Ryan, who nodded and readied the interface module. Amelia took a deep breath and stepped forward, her weapon at the ready. She hit the control panel, and the doors slid open. Inside, the room was filled with alien technology, glowing consoles and screens lining the walls. In the center was a massive computer terminal, pulsing with energy. The Kelvorm soldiers turned to face them, their eyes narrowing in recognition. Amelia fired, her shots hitting the closest soldier. Ryan moved to the terminal, ducking behind it as he began to connect the module. "Cover me," Ryan shouted, his hands moving quickly over the alien interface. Amelia focused on the approaching soldiers, firing steadily. The Kelvorm were fierce, their movements quick and calculated. Amelia's heart pounded as she took them down one by one, her reflexes honed by years of combat. But more soldiers were coming, their reinforcements pouring into the room. "We're outnumbered," Ryan yelled, his voice tinged with desperation. "Just a little longer." Amelia nodded, gritting her teeth. She couldn't let them fail now. She fired again, hitting another soldier. The room was filled with the smell of burning circuits, the sound of energy blasts, and the shouts of the Kelvorm. It was chaos, but Amelia thrived in chaos. Suddenly, a Kelvorm soldier lunged at her, his blade slicing through the air. Amelia dodged, but the blade grazed her arm, a searing pain shooting through her. She cried out, stumbling back. The soldier raised his weapon for the killing blow. Before he could strike, Ryan fired, his shot hitting the soldier squarely in the chest. The Kelvorm fell, his weapon clattering to the floor. Ryan rushed to Amelia's side, concern etched on his face. "Are you okay?" Ryan asked, his eyes scanning her wound. Amelia nodded, wincing as she clutched her arm. "I'm fine. Just finish it." Ryan returned to the terminal, his hands flying over the controls. The interface module hummed, its lights glowing brighter. Amelia fired at the remaining Kelvorm, her determination fueled by the pain in her arm. She wouldn't let this end here. Then, with a surge of energy, the module connected. The lights in the room flickered, and the hum of the ship's machinery changed pitch. Ryan grinned, a triumphant look on his face. "It's done," Ryan shouted. "The ship's weapons are offline." Amelia felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had done it. The dreadnought was disarmed, its threat neutralized. The Kelvorm soldiers hesitated, their confidence shaken. Amelia seized the opportunity, her weapon blazing as she drove them back. "We need to get out of here," Amelia called to Ryan. "They'll be coming for us." Ryan nodded, slinging the interface module over his shoulder. They ran for the exit, the sound of their footsteps mingling with the alarms blaring through the ship. The Kelvorm were in disarray, their forces scattered. Amelia knew they wouldn't have much time before the aliens regrouped. They sprinted through the corridors, heading back to the shuttle. Amelia's arm throbbed with pain, but she pushed it aside, focusing on their escape. As they reached the shuttle bay, the sight of their shuttle brought a sense of hope. Ryan hit the controls, and the shuttle's hatch opened. They jumped inside, the hatch closing behind them. Ryan rushed to the pilot's seat, his hands moving over the controls. The shuttle's engines roared to life, lifting them off the deck. "Hang on," Ryan shouted. The shuttle shot out of the dreadnought, racing into the void of space. The battle outside was still raging, but Amelia could see the difference. The Kelvorm ships were disoriented, their formation broken. The salvaged ships of the Horizon's fleet were pressing the attack, their guns blazing. Amelia slumped into a seat, her adrenaline ebbing. They had done it. They had turned the tide of the battle. Ryan glanced back at her, a grin on his face. "We did it, Amelia," Ryan said, his voice filled with awe. "We really did it." Amelia smiled, the pain in her arm forgotten. "Yeah, we did." The shuttle sped toward the horizon, the sight of the battle fading behind them. Amelia knew there was still much to do, still more battles to fight. But for now, they had won a victory. They had shown the galaxy that Earth was not to be underestimated, that even the most unlikely of allies could stand against the darkness. As they approached the horizon, Amelia felt a sense of pride and hope. The Kelvorm had come to conquer, but they had found something they hadn't expected. A world of ingenuity, of resilience, of people who would fight for their home with everything they had. And as long as there were people like Ryan by her side, Amelia knew they would be ready for whatever came next. This concludes the thrilling story of Earth's transformation from a scrapyard to a formidable force, showing that even in the darkest times, humanity's spirit and determination can bring light and hope.